Hello, everyone. I'm Lenny Martin. I am with Joe Jocelevich, and we are JLR, the One Stop Shop for fantasy and sports betting. In today's podcast, we will focus on the fantasy basketball as we look into the NBA games for tonight. I believe there are 3 games on the slate. But first, Joe, you want to give a recap of yesterday's bets we put in?
Yeah, Len. First of all, how you doing today?
Good, good. Can't complain too much. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's a miserable day here in Northeast PA with the snow and the sleet, but we're living. But yeah, last night was depending on how we played, we gave you 4-player prop bets. We'll start at the top with Ben Simmons, who just completely shit the bed for us. He picked up 2 quick fouls in the first quarter. I think he got another foul in the second quarter, and he sat for the majority of the first half. It really didn't come through. It really put us behind the 8 ball. So, that was kind of a lost cause. We just couldn't recover after that, for Ben Simmons anyway. The next pick was Gordon Hayward, and he did his thing. He got us to the promised land where he needed to be. Had a great game. Miles Turner the same way. Got us over the 21 or 22.5 threshold that we needed for the player props for him. And then Jaylen Brown might have been more disappointing than Simmons actually last night. We had him at 33.5. We got him penciled in at 33.5 before tip for points, rebounds, and assist. He missed a free throw towards the end of the game. We ended up going a half point. We shy of that marker at 33, so we would have been 3 for 4. We're half a point away from 3 for 4. Again, shit happens. It's unfortunate what happened with Simmons, but we're back at it today. And with a fantasy lineup, there's 3 games that we're going to be focused on. It's a 3-game slate, so every pick's important. And there's going to be chalky plays, and we're going to get into those. I'll turn it back over. Yeah, I'll turn it back over.
We're going to look at the point guard position. And I'm looking at Rajon Rondo. There's a lot of guys that are on the injury reserve list. So it's like, okay, are you going to play? Are you not going to play? So Rondo could be a good look, especially if Trae Young is sitting out. How do you feel about that play, Joe?
If Trae Young sits, I like Rondo. You get a guy that could potentially have 40-point upside, triple-double capability. Again, I said that yesterday about Ben Simmons, and he got in the foul trouble early. He had triple-double capability. So with Rondo, again, you get production, a lot of assists. I mean, if you look back to the run that the Lakers had closing out the season last year, he was a focal point of that run that they had. So he could still play if he gets the minutes. And if Trae Young, and that's a big if Trae Young sits tonight, I like Rondo.
All right, we'll move on to the next part. It is the shooting guard position, and we were looking at Mitchell from the Utah Jazz.
I mean, that's one of the studs playing tonight. The Knicks are actually surprisingly a really good defensive team. The tempo, they don't play with a bunch of tempo, so they like to slow the game down. But again, who's going to stop Mitchell? I don't think that the Knicks have anybody that could really slow him down. I think he'll get his tonight. Another guy that should get his is Rudy Gobert, and we'll get there eventually. But yeah, I think Mitchell is a solid play, especially on a 3-game slate. He stands out.
Yeah, I mean, when I was first looking at it at the shooting guard position, I'm like, okay, we have Bradley Beal up there, but at 9,900 and compared to 8,400 for Mitchell, I mean, we're saving about 1,500 on salary cap. So I believe they could put up the same amount of numbers and to save 1,500. I'm definitely going to go Mitchell's way.
Definitely, I agree. I think the offense runs through Mitchell more than it does for Washington, where especially if Westbrook plays, I think it's like a 2-headed monster. You have Westbrook and Beal. So I think that production-wise, I think Mitchell just makes sense because again, you're saving salary as well.
Awesome. So we're going to go down to the small forward position, and we have DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks.
Sure. Hunter is having a pretty good season. A lot of guys potentially out tonight. I mean, he's seeing minutes, played 42 minutes last time around against Milwaukee. 27 before that. Minnesota before on the 18th, 37 minutes, 37.5 DraftKings points. On the season, averaging 17.4 with 5.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and almost a steal a game, averaging about 30 DraftKings points. I mean, with nobody playing really tonight and everybody questionable, and it all depends. You have to watch these in or outs to see who's playing, who's not. But DeAndre Hunter is definitely getting his, even if the starters are playing. So it just puts more of a reason to plug him in your lineup, especially if you have some of the top guns out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are questionable. You have Trae Young, we talked about. You also have Capella, who's been putting up monster numbers. And there is, I believe, one more with Gallinari. And that's pretty big because when Gallinari steps in, I think it takes away a little bit of time from Hunter. But I think he's more than going to happen is pretty much he's going to sit out tonight. So Hunter stepping in that position, I think will be really good. It's good value play especially for 6,200. For the power forward position, we have Randall from the New York Knicks.
Yeah, Julius Randle, again, is a solid play, I think, tonight. The Knicks don't play with a lot of tempo, but Julius Randle's been getting his this year. He's been having a phenomenal year so far. He last time they played Utah, I'm not sure if Gobert was guarding him or not, but he played 40 minutes, and it resulted in a 59.5 DraftKings point outing. He had 30 points, 16 rebounds to go along with 7 assists. So he had himself a game. So I expect if the Knicks are going to be competitive tonight, Randall's going to have to do his thing. So again, in only a 3-game slate, if we could squeeze in Julius Randle and run that back with 2 or 3 pieces, or even 2 pieces on the other side, whether it be Mitchell and Gobert or Mitchell and maybe Ingles. I mean, I think that's a recipe for victory. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a good pickup. I mean, he's playing pretty good. If you look at his numbers, even the game where, he had an off game, he's still in the 40s. I mean, he hasn't reached under about that 43 mark since probably like 2 or 3 weeks. So, he's really stepping up, playing big, and he reminds me of like Zion before Zion came, and maybe not as athletic, but, he likes to bully ball, and he can score around the basket.
Speaking of bully ball, that's going to lead into our next pick, and I'll let you elaborate on this if you want.
Oh, definitely. So we have DeMarcus Cousins, and I think we did a pretty good job calling this one. We talked about Cousins a lot for last game. We ended up taking him, and he put up about 58 fantasy points. And, I mean, we talked about how if all those buckets went in from the game prior, he probably would have been in the 50s because he shot the ball 16 times, only made it twice. But last time out, he put the ball in the bucket, and he still had his rebounds and a couple assists. So at 6,000, I mean, it's a steal, and with Wood probably questionable and not playing, DeMarcus Cousins is a must play.
Agreed, 100%.
Okay, we're going to go down to the guard position. We took some value on this one. We have Robinson from the Washington Wizards. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, he played 35 minutes last time out. He had 31.8 DraftKings points, 16 points, 5 boards, 4 assists. Again, you're going to need value, especially with the picks that we made so far. So you're going to have somebody to jam in your lineup. For 4,000, Jerome Robinson, even he had 24 minutes against Miami previous. He had 22.5 DraftKings points and double figures in scoring with 12 points and 4 rebounds, 2 assists. So, I mean, I like to play. Washington is shorthanded. So they're going to need secondary scoring. I mean, it could come from all. The silly thing is, it could come from Westbrook and Beal. I mean, they can combine for Christ on a good night. They can put up 80 points themselves. But I look for secondary scoring here. And for the price tag for $4,000, Jerome Robinson makes sense.
Yeah, what I like about him, he has a capability of doing other things. He grabs boards, gets assists. You know what I mean? He'll get a steal here and there. And I think that he's a good play for 4,000.
Absolutely.
And we're going to stay in that game in the forward position. Bonga from Washington as well. And I mean, like we talked about, there are a lot of guys that are pretty much out for this game, and they're all pretty much big guys, so we need somebody to control the boards with Bryant being out. Then you also have Burton's and then Huckamara. So, I mean, you have a bunch of people that are sitting out tonight. So he needs to step up in that role, control the glass. And I mean, they're going to be playing Houston. So someone got to step up and guard Cousins, because they're going to be going after each other. And hopefully he could also benefit with a small salary. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, for the same reason that we did it before. 4,100 for Bonga. Hopefully he can play the Bongas tonight for us and get us those 50 points. I think it's a good play. Again, you're looking at secondary scoring here. He's not going to be the first option or the second option, but as long as he is a option, we should be good for 4,100. And again, with the team that we have we do have studs in there. So again, you're going to have to bite the bullet somewhere. I like the play. So yeah, I'm definitely behind it.
Okay, and then we have our utility. We put in Rudy Gobert. How do you feel about that play?
Well, I don't know if you're going to ask me how I feel. Why don't you go ask Shaq how he feels about Rudy Gobert?
Shaq should get paid $500 million in the league now.
Shaq probably thinks this guy should be serving burgers at McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
For the double-double, right?
Exactly.
Double. But no, in all honesty, Rudy Gobert is a guy who, I mean, he gives you 40, almost high 30s, 40 points every night, DraftKings fantasy points. He's not a flashy player. He doesn't bring the it factor, if you will. But he's a guy that could give you 12 points, 15 rebounds a night.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Along with about 4 or 5 blocks.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's what the game changer is, though. Every block is worth 2 points. So, he gets 4 blocks tonight. That's 8 points combined with all the other stuff he gets,
Exactly. Now, do I think he's worth $200 million? Of course not. However, like I said, for the fantasy aspect of this, is a guy who could give you and get you to 40 points. So at the end of the day, with that salary and what we have left over, I mean, that's just, I'd rather play him than play John Wall. I mean, John Wall going back against his own, his old team. I mean, it's a good narrative, but I don't think that he goes off. And I think the safer play here would be Rudy Gobert. Even if it goes off, I'll bite the bullet and say, okay, I'm going with Gobert, who can score 40 points. If John Wall has a floor game tonight, he'll have 50. But we still have the studs in our lineup to make up the difference for that. So, yeah, I'm in agreement on Gobert, absolutely.
All right. One thing I like about Gobert is he's going against Mitch Robinson from New York, so he's not really going against Randall. And I think it sets him up in a prime position because, he's a backside help type player. So if Randall will beat his guy off the dribble, Gobert is going to be there to contest. And, he could get a couple blocks tonight. So I really like him where he stands in that part.
Mr. Robinson might have 3 fouls. He might be in foul trouble tonight because I think he's going to struggle against Gobert. So, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, I mean, Rudy Gobert, you pair him up with Mitchell and you run it back with Julius Randle. I think that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, so we're going to enter that lineup into a 50-50 lineup, so we don't have to come in first. We just have to beat 50% of our competition, and we're just going to try to double our money tonight. How do you feel about that, Joe?
No, absolutely. We're not going to go GPP tonight. We're going to go with cash lineup, like you said. And I think this is a solid lineup. I think this gets you definitely in the money. And again, you gotta pay attention as well because so much could change before everything locks. So this lineup is depending on Trey Young, his status for tonight. So that's probably the most important thing I can tell you is to watch out for Trey Young and the status and what his status is and availability for tonight's game.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, we'll put this lineup in. Any changes that are made, we will put in the comment section of our YouTube channel. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Do you have any final words for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I do. We're going to unveil this weekend some college basketball content. And I'm pretty hyped up about that. We're getting closer to conference championship time and tournament time. It's almost like Christmas. Um, it's one of my favorite times of the year is tournament, the brackets, and like I said, conference championships. And we're definitely going to do some college basketball content, and that's going to start this weekend. So I'm very excited about that. We'll be breaking the games down with myself, Glenn, and TJ Raleigh, who is our NFL expert. But yeah, that's something definitely to look forward to. We have the Super Bowl show coming up. That'll be on the Super Bowl. We're going to the date and the time. Well, obviously the date is the date, but the time will be to be determined. So we'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, I mean, we got some very exciting things coming up, and hopefully we're going to win some money here.
Awesome. All right. Just to remind everybody, we are JLR, the one-stop shop for fantasy sports and betting. I hope everybody has a good day and good luck in your lineups tonight.